India has seen multiple insurgencies and civil strife since independence. Nagaland, Punjab, Jammu and Kashmir, and then the Maoist regions of central India. In Manipur, the violence has been on since May 2023. It's over 16 months now. Over 200 people have died and over 60,000 persons displaced. But what differentiates this prolonged phase of unrest from all others post-independence is the kind of ordnance that both warring factions are using. Over 2,000 assault rifles, hundreds of thousands of rounds of ammunition still missing. Adding to that is this new and worrying prospect of mobile artillery, believe it or not, homemade rockets, drones dropping grenades, and rockets being fired into civilian areas. Manipur is on fire today. Can it spread across India? Joining me to discuss this worrying scenario are Lieutenant General Sanjay Kulkarni, former DG Infantry, Mr. PK Mishra, former Inspector General of Police, BSF, and my colleague Kartikeya Sharma in the studio with me, who's been tracking the situation in Manipur for the last 16 months on a trot. Gentlemen, welcome to the News9 Plus Show. General Kulkarni, you've seen that video of the wheeled artillery launcher being used by one of the warring groups in Manipur. What are your thoughts? How worried should we really be? Artillery being used in civil strife in India, it's possibly unheard of.
Sandeep, extremely sad. Sad because there's total trust deficit now. And that is what has led to these kind of improvised ammunition, improvised rockets. You know, you have what they call it as 10 feet long tubes with about 4 to 5 kgs of explosive, about 30 kgs of weight, a range of about 5 kilometers, wheeled kind of artillery also being used, explosive devices being used, all kinds of weapons, INSAS, SLRs, carbines, LMGs, and you name a thing, grenades, anything and everything, commercial drones, commercial weaponry, all of it improvised, because since Second World War, people are quite adept at all these kind of things.
Yes.
And over and above, there's 45 million people in the northeast states with about 400 kinds of communities that live.
Right.
Manipur alone has about 33 kinds of ethnic tribes, about 40 insurgent groups, 3.3 million population, over 50% of it is the Meiteis, the rest of them are Kukis, Jos, and the rest, Nagas and all. So you find that, but what differentiates, what makes this different from before is the hatred. Total trust deficit, which is somehow, at least I cannot, because having lived with them, having known both sides of these communities so well, this kind of a hatred seems somewhere, some foreign hand, maybe, of course, they had 18,000 acres of poppy land being destroyed by the government. That is one major thing also that could have led to this kind of thing. Myanmar, in kind of turmoil, so insurgents coming in from there also, ethnicity commonality with Mizoram. So there's so much that is happening.
There's so much that's happening, General Kulkarni, and thanks for setting that up. The fact that you mentioned that there could be a foreign hand involved in this. I'm going to ask Kartikeya, my colleague, about this. Kartikeya, you've been following Manipur 16 months now on a trot. You haven't taken a break. I think no one's done that in the Indian media the way you have followed it. But you're also looking eastwards, beyond Manipur. You've always been talking of this civil war that's on in Myanmar. The military junta doesn't control 60% of Myanmar. It's unprecedented, the civil war. What is the kind of collusivity that we are seeing between the rebel groups in Myanmar and the groups in Manipur?
You see, there are three things here. The first is that because of the easy movement of people, the kin solidarity is far more accentuated. In order to express solidarity, people can move in and out of the border. I have travelled from More to Tamu at a point of time, and you would just need to show your local identity card. And I realized that there was no border except a checkpoint.
Yes.
The border is not fenced, it's not patrolled that way. You don't have border patrolling, aggressive border patrolling the way people are used to watching it on TV in Rajasthan, Gujarat or Arispura sector. So that sort of a border patrolling is not there. Secondly, there is a terrain difficulty which is that it's mountainous, and mountainous in the sense that these are not rolling slopes. These are tough slopes. And the third thing is that the colonial issues are mapped on the terrain of Northeast. You have a Tamil colony in Moray. People tell me that you don't have Tamils there now. They have left. So you have a lot of people from the other parts of this country being there, the labor, indentured labor.
Yeah.
But the larger issue here is that this conflict is unique because entire communities have got polarized.
Yes.
The Kukis and the Maitis.
You're literally talking of two states within
The
one state.
and the demonization between two communities
Yes.
have taken place. So, in absence of a large, towering leader who can be trusted from all sides,
Yes.
this has become more accentuated. Biren Singh, as a chief minister, is seen as a Maiti chief minister. He is not being
Yes.
seen as a Kuki or the chief minister of Manipur. But then, you also have to account for one thing, that just because Maitis are in majority doesn't mean that their thought process is majoritarian in nature.
Right.
Because any majority anywhere in the world, if the narrative becomes that they will turn into an ethnicity,
Right.
they will have a problem.
Yes.
It's like Hindus in India. You say that from a nationality, you will turn into an ethnicity.
Right.
You will have a problem with that. So Manipur has become complex for multiple reasons, but one thing I can tell you, that I have realized that the sort of interventions that had taken place in previous insurgencies,
Yes.
for example in Assam, or for example, the reason why I use Punjab again and again is that Rajiv Gandhi had to send Arjun Singh as governor to
Right.
Punjab,
Right.
or for example, the positioning of Mr. Vora, or former raw chief in Jammu and Kashmir. That sort of a pace, that sort of a urgency,
Yeah.
I have not witnessed in Manipur.
In Manipur. And
Maybe
that's,
it is
that's
because
baffling.
the leadership
Yes.
is invested in the current political leadership.
Right.
Then I think, as other commentators have said, that sometimes the political equations are getting better
Right.
of larger national security issues. But again, let me tell you, right now in Manipur, people say that you can change Biren Singh, you can change.
Yes, yes.
The situation is not going to become normal. It can only become normal if there is a trust factor in an average Manipuri with each other.
Absolutely. That trust deficit is
That
something
is
that should
huge.
worry
That
all
is-
of us
and
between
I'll
the two
close my
communities.
argument like
Yes.
this. And I can say that a very big foundation, a gentleman associated with RSS, currently now working out of state in BJP, invited a lot of intellectuals from Manipur. 2 days, I was part of it. I was there to just listen to them. Even that gentleman, in both the days, could get one day all the Maitis and the second day all the cookies.
Even the peace negotiator couldn't get both of them together in the same room.
So
Well,
first
that's-
day I met all the Maitis, and
Yes.
second day I met all the cookies.
Right.
I did not meet them together. That is why in my panel,
Yes.
I ensure that was the biggest learning curve.
Right.
Whatever show I do,
Right.
I try to do. If it is not a pure national security thing,
Yes.
in which I only require IPS or defense officers or people in security,
Yes.
I ensure there is another voice.
That's tragic that even in television debates you cannot get two communities on the same
It
panel.
is very difficult to conduct a very civil debate because things generally become personal.
Absolutely. Mr. Mishra, you've been in the BSF for many years. The firewalling is something that the military does very well. The security forces, if there is a forest fire, for instance, you firewall that area, you dig a fire trench, you prevent the fire from spreading. Manipur is on fire right now. We've just seen this unprecedented scenes of mobile homemade artillery being used by both sides. They're both armed to the teeth with infantry weapons. They're using drones to drop grenades. The Home Ministry plans to fence the entire India-Myanmar border, 1643 kilometers, I think out of which only 10 kilometers have been done so far. How easy or how difficult is this going to be? Is this as easy as it's being debated, or is it going to take several years and possibly will even outlast the conflict?
Sandeep, one thing you are asking this question to a person who has made the fencing, who has constructed the fencing in Jammu international border opposite to Sialkot and Pakistan from Pathankot to Aknoor. I made
Right.
it in 1.5 years,
Right.
195-kilometer patch.
Absolutely.
And I have seen personally a complete border of Manipur to
Yes.
Myanmar. Each and at the best part of it, every village on the hills, which are adjacent to the international border of Myanmar, I have gone and I have operated. So Manipur, I remained for about 15 years. I have served in Manipur. But what I could visualize, the distrust which has come now.
Yes.
When I last visited Churachandpur last month, after, in fact, much after the KNF MC's parade, which was made their national day, I'm urging the parade, I visited Churachandpur, of course. I went along with the Paite. I had no problem. I was
Right,
secured. I was
right.
feeling secure. But the way the weapons were paraded,
Distrust.
I'm telling you,
Yes.
nobody's business. You can't think of how these weapons have landed up there in Churachandpur,
Yes.
and how come they were not seized also that day when the parade was taking place.
Right.
Yes, I was listening to Mr. Kartikeya, and he was just telling, yes, the fencing will take time. The fencing has started. The fencing is continuing for last 1 year. And the More-Tamu portion they are making.
Yes.
More and Tamu border is not Myanmar border of Manipur. It's a very vast border. And if you think that there is difficulty in making because it's mountainous terrain and jungles are there, and there will be problem from the opposite side, certainly not. We have made it in Srinagar border. We have made it in Punjab border. We have made it in Jammu border. What is the real factor now? As Kartikeya was just speaking,
Yes.
if your fencing will take place, it may take some time. What's the problem of guarding the border in a BOP concept? Making border outpost and observation posts like Punjab border, Rajasthan border, Srinagar border, Jammu border, and Gujarat border. What is the problem? You take maximum 10 battalions. And I hope within 15 days the border can be blocked.
Absolutely.
This is one.
Right.
And I'm telling you, yes, the dimension of the classes. We have seen the ethnic class in Jiribam.
Yeah.
Why Jiribam is famous? Kartikeya was telling he had one full evening on Jiribam. And why Jiribam is famous? Jiribam is really, this is the ethnic class which is going on in Jiribam because it's the logistical approach to
Yes.
Manipur.
Yes.
And that is what both the groups, they are trying to have power there. They want to forcibly occupy the territory and remove others from there. Like in More, they have removed one of the community.
Yes.
I am not going to mention any community. And we
Right.
lost about 5 persons there. A person sleeping was shot dead. And the worst part of it, of course, slightly political, I'm adding in this. We have a chief minister who cannot visit Jiribam.
Yes.
We have a chief minister who cannot go to Churachandpur. I have gone to Churachandpur. I stayed there for 3 days when Sambit Patra was there.
Right.
Of course, he did visit Churachandpur. But why a chief minister cannot go to his own area? This is another problem. The problem of trust deficit is
The
there.
trust
from
deficit, I
both
think,
sides.
yes, Mr. Mishra, I think you made that point very strongly. The fact that the trust deficit is the main issue in Manipur right now. The fact that it's one state, but it's actually, in reality, it's 2 states. It's just cleaved down ethnic lines.
Sandeep, I will let you know of this.
Yes.
I have seen the buffer zone myself. You know, you cross Bishnupur district.
Yes.
Once you cross Moirang, you reach Kwakta, Turbung Baglon, Terak, Hongsang B. These are the 3 places. The moment you cross, you are in another country.
Absolutely.
And up to Myang, it is another
And
country.
that should
What is
worry
this
all of us,
going on?
Mr. Mishra. This
And,
thing, while it's okay to
yeah.
discuss this, but on the ground, I mean, this as
Yeah.
Indians, we should be ashamed of the fact that you have states of India where one community cannot go into the other, and that deep sense of distrust that prevails, as all of you have just brought out. But General Kulkarni, there's no option now for us but to demilitarize Manipur. How can you do it in this climate of mistrust? Just outline for us the path ahead. If Manipur is to be demilitarized, if all of these country-made weapons, this homemade artillery, drone bombs and all of that has to be taken out of the equation, how would you proceed it? What are the kind of steps that need to be taken? Distrust, of course, it's easier said than done, that to remove distrust, but how would you proceed?
See, Sandeep, distrust is there. That's why these buffer zones have come up.
Yes.
You can imagine one community not trusting the police, the other community does not trust Assam rifles. So you have all these kind of things happening over there. Best is, as I find, it is no more, you can't fire a gun from somebody else's shoulder. It's the president's rule. You have
Right.
to put the assembly under suspension and impose president's rule. There is no way if the two communities, and I have friends in both the communities, and
Yes.
both the communities are rather, all of Manipur is excellent lot of people, unbelievably so sweet, but
Right.
just see that kind of trust deficit which has led them to different administrative zone demand, to different state demand, nothing to do with one another. And it becomes more and more difficult, like you rightly said. After all, one community is occupying the hills, which is just about, say, 30 to 40% occupying the
Yes.
hills. It's a 90%. And the balance of the 50-odd% of the community is in 10% of the plains, which is also not good. Because after all these weapons, whatever it be, artillery, or you start having improvised and you have drones dropping impact bombs, you'll have from the hills flying in onto the plains, from the plains taking off and onto the hills. This
Yes.
kind of a situation is not acceptable. The only way, as I see right now, is the president's rule with a view to ensure, and once the president's rule is imposed on everybody, nothing doing, you have to get all the weapons back into the armory. 5,600 weapons looted.
Yes.
Not even 25% of them are back. 650,000 rounds looted. God alone knows, not even 10,000 may be back. At this kind of rate, and all kinds of weapons, SLRs, you have
Yes.
IMSAs, you have AK-47, 9mm, pistols, 12 balls, all kinds of improvised
All
weaponry.
weapons in military service
anything.
have been looted. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely, and therefore it's like mortars of all kinds, and bombs. You have 36 HE hand grenades, you have 51mm bombs. What is all this? This is virtually like two warring parties where, and now it is. I think it's enough. Is enough. We cannot. For sure, we
Enough
know
is
that
enough,
no
absolutely.
one community can do it, and
Yes.
therefore the president's rule: keep the president assembly in suspension. Don't dismiss them all. Keep them in suspension at least for another 6 months. There should be president's rule, and you'll find things will start coming back to normalcy.
Absolutely. Kartikeya, president's rule, the only way out in Manipur?
I think what is required is a new normal. What is required is a messaging that the Nizam has changed.
Right.
What is required in Manipur is that new set of rules are being enforced. Right now what is happening is that Manipur is in the same frame. You have some months of the so-called peace, which I would say is a sense of ordinariness, but it hasn't
Yes.
broken into violence. But you see, how can you have a peace in society which is so vitiatedly
Armed
divided?
to the teeth.
Armed to the teeth is one,
Yes.
but it is so divided.
Yes.
You see, it's a difficult thing to say, but people become angry when you say that. The point is that it is an ethnic strife in
Yes.
Manipur. First, you need to accept the problem, na?
Yes.
It's an ethnic issue.
Yep.
It's an ethnic issue. People don't want to sit together. They're contesting histories. Even the contested name of the place.
Yes.
Chura Chandpur, Lamka, we can get into all those details, but the fact of the matter is, someone has to say, well, this is the new way in which we are going to govern Manipur. And I would say what has happened is, political leaders have done great disservice to Manipur.
Right.
I always say Gandhi Nuakhali. I use it like a metaphor.
Right.
I mean, so there is not one person who I can say can cross over the border and become acceptable. What about the peace committee?
Yes.
I think there was a peace committee. Nothing has happened of it. What about the inquiry?
Yes.
You know, inquiry must conclude these are memorialization of memories, and memories are audited through which the reconciliation takes place. It's like handling a trauma. And the most important of all, what about the cases which had been transferred? Justice has to be given.
Yes.
Justice delayed is justice denied.
Absolutely.
So many other parts of the machine have not been taken care of. Military is there to protect us.
Yes.
But military obviously needs a political objective. If
Right.
I say, yes, general, you take over, but he has to be given a political objective.
Right.
So what is the political objective? Who is talking to whom?
Absolutely. I think that you've hit the nail on the head, Kartikeya. The fact is that the political process doesn't seem to have taken off at all in Manipur, and in the absence of that,
Who takes the initiative?
is-
Who takes the initiative from center? That is
Yes.
why I used Arjun Singh's example.
yes, you
That
a
is
governor.
why-
You need a governor to
I mean,
take
you
over.
see some person who said
Yes.
that this is the way we are going to resolve it. So many important people were sent to Kashmir.
Right.
Not many succeeded, but the center continued to send them there.
Yes, and it's really worrying, Kartikeya. It's that we're
Even
speaking
Modi
of
did-
Kashmir
even Modi
and
did that.
Manipur in the same breath. I mean, I never thought we'd see the day, but here we are. Manipur's explosive arsenal, LMGs, assault rifles, drone bombs, and homemade artillery. But the biggest weapon of them all, as our panelists just told us, is the fear and the mistrust among the communities in a state that's so divided. Thank you very much for joining us, General Kulkarni, Mr. Mishra, and my colleague Kartikeya Sharma.